All right, there's big news on another front. Oh, great, Brian Last. I'm just making news on the collectibles front all over the place. The collectibles front, collectibles back, collectibles tops and bottoms. I'm dealing with heritage auctions now. I teased a little bit about this a few months ago, but it took a while for the grading process to be done and come through. But you and I have talked about this before, and you, of course, are the repository now of the assembled Pro Wrestling Enterprises wrestling news files and archive of all of the programs, magazines, pictures, and everything that our old friend Norman Keitzer published in the many years ago, the late 60s through the 80s.
And Brian Bucantis expertly took care of after that.
Yes. Brian Buchanan had the whole thing together at his palatial estate until it was trucked to you, and now you've got everything. But one of the most unlikely things that Norman Keitzer and Pro Wrestling Enterprises has been involved in is the fact that something that I shouldn't say something. They did a lot of great magazines and programs, and people collect those, but something that's gone way out of whack over the past several years has been the little innocuous wrestling trading card sets that Norm did. And at the time, I was just starting to get in the business. I was still a contributing photographer for the wrestling news, and Norm and the folks at Pro Wrestling Enterprises were the ones that were printing my championship wrestling magazine that we were selling in the arenas. And they came up, Norman did, with the idea to do wrestling trading cards because he was a big baseball fan too, and he'd liked collectible things. And so, I didn't think much about it at the time because, I think you will probably concur, Brian, that Norman's printing sometimes wasn't the most expensive. And he did sometimes, cut the corners, and these weren't large print runs of things. And so it was just another thing that, Norman was doing along with the programs and stuff. 40 years. Go ahead.
Well, actually, I was going to just say with the cards specifically, and I know a little bit about them. I actually own the rights to the cards. But what I was going to say is there actually was a pretty significant print run. And it didn't sell that great. That's why he was still selling them up until, the late 90s. Sheldon Goldberg at one point bought like a ton of them from Norman Keitzer. The collectible market for those cards is as interesting as the story behind the cards.
Well, yes, and that's the thing is that, suddenly in 40 years later, people have found out or realized or come to the conclusion that this was the first set of wrestling trading cards in the modern era. The last ones had been done on any kind of mainstream basis. It wasn't just do-it-yourself or local territory stuff.
Right. Because Scott Teal has those really cool ones from Chattanooga.
Yeah, the Rax roast beef that, Nick or George wandered into a Rax and met the manager probably one day, and they got trading cards. I mean, I don't know how it came up, but there were a few territory things, but on a national basis with all the stars, the last sets had been in the 50s with the network TV and the black and white trading cards that we've seen, those oversized things. But anyway, so this has suddenly become rediscovered. And even though Hulk Hogan had been in the business for 3 or 4 years at the time of this first set, it's his first trading card, so it's considered the Hulk Hogan rookie card. And we talked about this a while back that they were appreciating. And then, gosh, a couple of years ago with the, everything, all the other collectible cards, this stuff just mushroomed.
And a lot of it's based on condition because while let's say, just to throw a number out there, and it's bigger than this, let's say there's 100 of those Hulk Hogan cards. How many of them are in mint condition, centered, focused? How many of them are in perfect condition? And that's where it comes in.
There's what comes into play also is Norman's printing processes, because they not only count, you can have a perfect card with square corners and sharp corners and whole 9 yards, but if the centering is not correct, that takes like points off or it gives it demerits or whatever. And the thing is, I'm like, fuck, Norman's magazines weren't even centered properly, right? So then, according to what else I've been told as we investigated this, the Andre the Giant card is the absolute hardest card of these sets to get in any kind of high-grade condition because it was the top card in the set, and when they were shrink-wrapped, it dulled the Andre corners. And then they've also, the bright colored borders lend themselves to chipping because they're so bright and nice when they're brand new, but they chip easily, and this whole 9 yards. So this set has been, one of the pitfalls of Norman's processing, but also has driven the value up for cards that are, in high grade condition. Fortunately, for just such an occasion, ladies and gentlemen, I've had a set of these cards since they came out because my photography is featured. I've not only had a set of the first set, but I had complete sets of all three sets that they released. And they've never actually been sold ever since I didn't buy them. Since my photography was part of them, I was sent complimentary sets courtesy of our friend Norman Keitzer. So they've never been circulated. They've been sitting in the vault for 40 years, right? And finally, when I heard what, was going on with these things, I got a hold of a friend of mine. Actually, I got a couple of friends. One of them will probably be on the show next week to discuss pro wrestling collectibles in general in his status and position at the Heritage Auctions. But I got a hold of a couple of these guys and said, what can we do with these? So they have been evaluated by Heritage. Several of them, a number of them, should say more than several, have been graded by the folks at SGC. And Brent, did you know, let me ask you this. Well, you're a baseball fan, so you may know this, but a lot of people may not. But the grading system on the cards
is a massive scam. Yes.
Well, no, it's a 1 through 10.
Oh, yes,
You sound like a person who's been spurned.
No, I haven't. I just know a little bit about the process and a little bit about people who work at the places, and I know a little bit of...
Well, these are fine people. I know they are. They use...
I don't know SGC. SGC may be the cream of the crop.
Well, but anyway, the point is it's a 1 through 10 scale, right? But do you know, okay, then, so what would you say if 1 is poor and 10 is gem mint, Gem, abs like a gem, absolutely perfect, flawless gem mint, that's 10, and 1 is poor, what do you think 5 would be?
5 would be Matt Hardy.
Oh, come on.
It's the middle. What do you want me to say? Between, what do I think? What's the word I would pick between
the
poor?
Word, yes. How would you quantify that there? How would you describe that?
Okay, if gem mint is 10, below that is, let's say, mint. Below that is, let's say, excellent. Let's say very good, good. I would say maybe good, depending on the scale.
No. 5 is excellent.
Wow.
Here, that's because I saw these cards obviously in person, and then I was waiting for the grades to come out, and I was like, well, what? Well, here's 7s and 8s, and there's a 9, but that seems kind of low. And then I listen to this scale and see if this pans out for you logically. 1 is poor. 1.5 is fair. 2 is good. 3 is very good. 4, very good to excellent. Now, there's a lot of range in there. 5 is excellent. 6 is excellent to near mint. 7 is near mint. 8 is near mint to mint. 9 is mint. And 10 is gem mint.
What a waste of
which
time.
You almost never, ever get. So it's a 1 through 9 almost. But with 5 can be excellent. So my 7s and 8s and 9s, while they're just swell. But anyway, this auction, I should mention, and as I said, we're going to talk more about it on the shows upcoming over the next couple weeks, but the auction at Heritage Auctions It's the November Fall Sports Collectibles Catalog Sale. It opens on October 28th. The website is ha.com for Heritage Auctions. ha.com, the auction closes on November the 18th. You can bid from October 28th through November 18th. But as I said, basically, here's the deal. It's the wrestling card sets 1982 and 1983 from Pro Wrestling Enterprises, the Wrestling All-Stars, and they're my personal collection that has never been sold anywhere and has never been circulated. And it is graded, the ones that were graded have been deemed the Jim Cornette Collection. Several of them feature my photography, but the Andre that is so hard that just bedevils people, I was kind of disappointed with a 6 until I saw that that's excellent to near mint, and that's the hardest card. And the Hulk Hogan there's two Hulk Hogans that's going to be involved, so I won't give anything away, but my Harley race got an 8.5. So if you're in the market for a real clean Harley race with low mileage and cool air, I'm trying to look. There's so many numbers and so many letters in capitals and in bold, NM to NMMT, etc. But anyway, everybody's there. The Sheik got a 9.5. That's almost as good as you can get. Sweet Brown Sugar Cocoa Ware got a mint 9. Anyway, yes, all of those various things are going to be there October 28th through November 18th. At ha.com, Heritage Auctions, the November Fall Sports Collectibles Catalog. By crack. My Flair is a 7.5. That apparently it's in between near mint and near mint to mint. How do you make that minute of an adjudication?
Like I said, I think it's all a scam.
Well, what's not a scam? Geez, you're running my business off. What's not a scam?
No, I'm not saying your cards aren't in great shape, but I think the whole grading system is a fucking scam, and I think they rip people off daily, and I don't think it's just baseball cards. I think it's comic books. I think it's all these people on the fucking waiting list just to get their shit graded. Have my attitude. Hey, I got great shit. This is in perfect condition. I'm going to put it away, and now it's mine. That's it. There's the attitude. I'm not sending it to someone. I remember when I used to be asked to DJ fucking things in Brooklyn, and I would show up and I would just plug in my phone and do my playlist, and I would, go with the room, and if I felt there was a good song to add in. And these other guys would be there with their records like, how could you not bring your records? I said, you're a fucking idiot. Why would I ever bring my records out of my house? That's when something happens to them. That's when a junkie idiot like that guy in the corner steals it. No. I got all the songs right here. They'll sound the same to these drunk idiots in this room right now than they would if I had the fucking vinyl that you're going to have to go schlep on the subway home. And that's the Brian Last Corner for this week, ladies and gentlemen.
You mean these idiots would carry boxes of vinyl records on the subway?
Yeah, they would. There was one thing I actually got to do. I'm not even going to say the name and embarrass the guy. It was me and a famous fucking DJ in that scene. And I had my little fucking phone with my wacky little playlist, and I tore the house down. And then the more famous person went on after me, and everyone fucking left. And I loved it because I had a great time.
Yes. Yeah. But right now you're a malcontent with a grumpy Brian Last.
Honest Brian Last. Truthful Brian Last.
I'm over here just trying to hawk some pro wrestling trading cards, and you're condemning the entire collectibles grading system.
How much you think you're going to get? How many hundreds of thousands of dollars do you expect?
No, now come on. There's something affordable for everyone. Here it is. I encourage everybody to go and take a look, and you're going to you can preview this stuff too very soon. We're going to have a link as soon as I have Hotchkiss and the Heritage Auctions social media guy have their get together on the phone. We're going to have a link on jimcornette.com where you'll be able to actually go straight to the auction and take a look at pictures of all these cards and everything. But they are very cool. But who would have thought of all the rare shit that have in my collection and know is rare shit and have always recognized was valuable, is this few little packs of trading cards suddenly, out of nowhere, Cinderella story. Anyway.
Yeah, Sheldon Goldberg, though. Years ago, he had a whole bunch of them, and he was selling them. You know, he was ahead of the game with Matt Marketplace, like tracking the whole collectibles market and who had what, where you can get cool things. And you go back and you look now at some of those old issues and you see the prices of things and you realize, wow, it really was a collector's market, because those things that were $5 there are now hundreds of dollars now.
Well, and my Amazing Fantasy 15, that was actually, you know, over that period of 45 years that I had it, was probably better than buying most stocks. It appreciated in value 1,000 times.
You got those cards. I got the contract you signed, so your cards, so your photos could be used in those cards.
You paperwork hound. One of these days, when you get far enough into that file cabinet, we'll have the lowdown on the real scoop behind Watergate and everything else.
No kidding.